I really fucking hate this tee shot. So today I'm going to play 18 holes, every shot, try and score as best as I can, round a golf course in Edinburgh called Turnhouse Golf Club. Now this is a golf course that I absolutely hate, right? Not for the reason that I think it's a bad golf course. I actually think it's a good golf course, and I think it's a very difficult golf course. For me especially. Like the tee shot that you've just seen me hit, I was up last night thinking about it. Like anytime I play here, I hate the first tee shot. The reason I don't like this golf club, well, I do like the golf club, I just really struggle around here, is because you can't really go left. You've got to drive the ball well. I don't drive the ball well, and my miss is left. I honestly don't think I've broken 80 around here. But yeah, basically I'm just gonna try and shoot as good as I can, so yeah. So yeah, apologies for the way I probably sound a little bit choked up with a cold. I don't have COVID, which is good. I do, however, have a really stuffed nose, which is a bit of a pain in the arse for recording the audio for this, but if you forgive me for having a bit of a blocked nose, we can just get cracking, eh? So yeah, on the first hole I found the fairway. I had 182 yards in. The pin was on the back right hand side of the green, so I was hitting 5-iron. First kind of few shots in the morning, dead cold, dead heavy air, so it was just a bit of an effort to really get it back there. So 5-iron was the club that we went ahead and used. Absolutely burst that, to be fair. It was all over it. I thought I'd hit a good shot. So it was in fact right down the flag. It looked like a good shot from the fairway, but it came up about 40-50 feet short. So I'm putting up the entire length of the green across one big tier. Pin's pretty much right at the back and I'm basically right at the front, so I've got a really lengthy putt. What did trick me was the greens were really firm to walk on, but they were in fact actually quite slow to putt on, so I did leave a few putts short throughout the day, which you will see. It ended up being a bit of a stress, really. So the second hole at Turnhouse, 274 yard par 4, obviously relatively short. You can drive it. I see people try and drive it quite often. For me, I've picked a target is the bunker just on the right hand side. I've mapped out 200 yards. On the line of that bunker gives me a 50 yard wide target, so it gives me plenty of room, and it obviously just leaves me a little flick. So that's the line I'm aiming on, that bunker. So I pushed this one quite considerably, but because I picked a relatively safe target, no hassle, no drama, easy shot on. So I left myself 55 yards into the second, as I say, really easy, straightforward shot. So I'm basically just trying to take this back to about hip height and through to hip height, and that should hopefully be about 50-ish yards. Oh, looking at that back, that was way further than hip height. Panicked, chase up. No dramas though, left myself about probably 20 feet right. Not the best shot, but also not the worst. So this actually confused me a little bit because it was right to left and it was downhill, and as I said, the ground was actually quite firm. It felt quite hard to walk on, so I kind of thought that this was going to be a lot quicker than it was. There was a couple of instances throughout the day where the ground actually threw me off because it was quite firm, so I feel like I hit this quite hard, but it has come up considerably short. I mean, that's like, walking over towards that, I was just thinking, brilliant, 3 jab from 20 feet on camera, loving life. But as I've said before, really one of the benefits of doing these videos is that you get to put yourself under the pressure that we all experience when we're playing competitions. So I just was able to try and rely on my routine, try and take the putter back slowly, line it up, and just keep your head down, focus on the line. And luckily it went in. Par. Level par through 2. Get in. Just like that, we're on to the third hole. Majestic. This is one of the most difficult tee shots, I think, personally, at Turnhouse, because you're basically just hitting blind right down a hill over some gorse. So as you'll see, I've mapped out the hole on the right hand side. It's a 407 yard par 4, and I'm basically just picking a line right over the middle of this gorse. I've hit my line, but you've honestly got no idea from the tee. You've just kind of got to hit and hope, really. This golf course, I think, it has demanding tee shots. Like there, I was standing over that with my 2-iron, just aiming in the middle of the gorse, thinking, I'm pretty sure this is the line, but I was also thinking, if I don't hit this well, it could definitely clip one of these trees and I could just be in the abyss. So it worked out quite well. I found the right hand side of the fairway. I've got about 80 yards, but it's downhill, so it's playing less than that. You can see the pin in the distance is hanging right off the right hand side of the green, and for me, if I miss this on the right hand side, that's just a complete no-go. So what I'm doing here is I'm picking a tree that I want to aim at. I ended up aiming at the 4th one from the right hand side, so I'm aiming considerably left, thinking the ball's below my feet anyway, it's going to make the ball move off to the right. So picking that tree and just really trying to commit on that line, playing the yardage about, as I say, it's about 80 yards downhill, but I'm playing at about 75-ish, just over 70, and really just committing on that line of that tree. I'm aiming there pretty well. And if you keep your eye on the flag, you'll be seeing the ball land. As I said, I was aiming miles left of this flag, and I ended up pushing it / using the hill and hitting it in super close. So I've hit it in to about 3-4 feet. So I've got a really good look at birdie here, just off the left hand side. But for me, every time I get a length of putt like this, I just think less about holding it and more about how bad it would be to miss it, which is really nice and positive. Catch the side of the hole, birdie, birdie time, 1 under par. I really fucking hate this tee shot. Well, I mean, I can't really make my feelings about this tee shot much clearer than that, but yeah, you can see the graphic on the right hand side, which is 50 yards wide at 250 yards off the tee. So basically I'm aiming just at the very last tree. You can't really see it in the camera angle, but you can see it in the image. Just trying to commit to that line, but because there's out of bounds all the way up the left and it's a very narrow landing spot, I do feel very uncomfortable over this tee shot. That was not very good. It's just so hooky. I think it's still in. I'm hoping it had a soft bounce, just short of the wall. We'll see. So luckily it was short of the wall, not by a massive amount, as you can see. This is obviously just a pretty much standard, try and advance the ball as much as you can. Give myself maybe about 100 yards in if I'm lucky. Just try to back foot a little kind of 5-iron. Yeah, pretty much all I could do is back in play. So I've left myself about 125 yards in. I'm aiming at a little V in the trees in the background, trying to commit to a pitching wedge and just try and send it back there. And that's actually one of the better shots I hit all day. It was right down the line where I was trying to aim it, so it is actually a very good shot. It just ended up that because it didn't turn in at all, left myself with quite a lengthy putt. So again, the story that I've been telling you on these is the greens were really firm to walk on, but obviously quite slow to putt on. So this is maybe the best part of 35 feet downhill, so I feel like it should be a little bit quicker. I'm trying to make sure I get it right the way back there. And I've hit it quite firm, and again, camera angle makes it look shorter than it is, but that's a good kind of 4 or 5 feet short, which is the exact length of putt that you don't want to keep leaving yourself, because you just feel like the narrative is if I keep leaving myself these all day, I'm bound to miss one at some point. Shout out to the John Daly looking character in the background. I'm a big fan of those trousers. But trying to just commit to the routine, rhythm on the putt and stroke, boom, saves it, saves the day. Although that's a par 5 and it's only like 470, I mean the fairway's literally like 30 odd yards wide where it's landing. Idea of me landing a driver in a 30 yard wide fairway. That's just not happening in a month of Sundays. No sir-ee. Anyway, par 3 coming up. So this par 3 is 173 yards off the yellows. Pretty much aiming at the middle of the green here with a 7-iron. I hit a decent shot. It tailed off a little bit to the right hand side, but found kind of the very edge of the green. Left myself with a downhill, maybe 25 foot putt. Nothing really spectacular in this, but it is in my mind that I've left a few short. So I'm trying to give them a little bit extra every single time. Really trying to commit to lengthening the putting stroke as opposed to just blasting it with extra speed. Always, always, always nice to have a tap in par. 5 holes done, 1 under par. So hole 6, we have got a 429 yard par 4 downhill, pretty much aiming straight down the middle of the green. There's a telephone mast behind the green. This off the usual tees it would be a driver, but from the forward tee I'm just trying to advance a little 2-iron on the same exact line. There again, with everything that I say that it's golf club, why I find it so difficult, all the way down the left hand side there's white posts out of bounds. So again, feeling a little bit uncomfortable on the tee, just trying to commit to a good swing. And that was quite a poor swing. Totally bailed out to the right. Big wimp. So 6 holes in, I'm not particularly thrilled with the way I'm hitting the golf ball. But the whole point was to test the course management stuff, which I actually think working reasonably well. I mean, 6 holes in, 1 under par, feeling like you've not hit it great. Granted, like it's forward tees, mats, all that sort of stuff, but you can only piss with the cup you've got, as they say. You can only play what's in front of you. So into the 6th, I've got about 180 yards downhill. The 6th hole is quite significantly downhill. You can't really tell from this camera angle. So I've got 180, but which would usually for me be a 6-iron, but because it's so significantly downhill, I'm going to go one less club. I'm going to hit a 7-iron, basically just trying to keep that middle line of the green which has the telephone mast behind it. Going to go for that. That's the line, just try and commit to it and put a decent swing on it. No idea what's up with the Pro Tracer there being so slow, but basically it leaked out a little bit to the right and found just short, so I should have committed and had 1 extra club. So a little bump and run required. Obviously the wintry, kind of dodgy, dirty, muddy lies are never fun. Going for a little pitching wedge bump and run. Feel like I landed at an alright spot. It just ran a little bit past the comfortable distance by. Not ideal. I've obviously just moved the camera right round, but it's not went into focus, so apologies for that. They're so slow. I feel like I rattled that. Not ideal. So that was obviously pretty annoying to not get up and down from such an easy position. The 7th hole, 448 yard par 4 from the very back tees. This is a very different tee, so you can see the map on the right hand side. I'm basically trying to hit it just right at that bunker, but from where I'm teeing off on the left, it's kind of a different hole entirely really. So I'm just trying to go a little bit left of that. It maybe brings those trees into play, but from this tee it's probably the middle of the fairway. Got 106 yards in, so not a particularly lengthy shot. The flag is in the middle of the green, but it's at the very, very back of this green. So I'm trying to think to myself of giving about a pitching wedge, which full goes 130. I want to grip down it, and I'm trying to think about just taking it back to kind of shoulder length, thinking about basically just dunting it forward, hitting kind of a long pitch. So that's the plan. The flag, although it's at the very back, you don't really want to go big of this green because it drops off. It's like down a hill and then there's quite a bit of rough, which with the flag being at the back makes it a very difficult up and down. So the plan is middle of the green at worst, but try and get it a little bit back there. And I've absolutely flushed that. That's all over it. But looking back at the footage now, seeing my full swing on that, I can see why my head's in my hands and have air milled the green. Although it was right down it, the distance control was piss poor. The flag is really close to me. I'm pitching uphill to the flag which is close to me with a green that's running away from me. So I need real finesse here, soft hands. For me, the difficult thing about these types of shots is committing to the length of swing or to the force that you're putting through it. What I tend to do is I take a backswing and I think, oh, this isn't going to be enough, and then I just blast through with extra power and I fly the target by a good like 10 or 15 yards and come away looking a tit. So come on, soft hands and commit to the distance. Or just do exactly what you described and nearly hit your camera. Nice. I'll be honest, when I had 106 yards into the screen, I did not think I'd be staring down the barrel of a 25-foot putt for par. Things have not really gone to plan on this hole. I'll be honest with you. So that's not ideal. Right, it's at these points in tournaments where I kind of just write off this hole. I go and have like a little internal implosion, so I just get really annoyed and then end up 3-putting, making a double bogey, and just losing interest for like 6 holes or something. So that's the sort of thing I need to get rid of. Come on, 2-putt this, take a bogey, move on. It's not the end of the world. Ah, come on, buddy. You know the greens are slow. You know the greens are slow. There's no excuse for that. Cannot keep leaving yourself these little 5-foot nervy ones. Gonna miss one at some point. This is not ideal. Come on, actually hit this. Leaking. Ooh, caught enough the hole, you jammy swine. Okay, so the 8th hole is a 407-yard par 4. We're teeing off again from a mat, so it's just right of this tee. You can see the line I've picked out for when I was playing the full course is just on the right-hand side of the furthest up bunker. So from this tee, I'm basically going to be aiming a little bit further left of that kind of green side bunker on the right-hand side. Although it does bring in those trees on the left, they should be getting carried, especially from this tee, even though it is the winter. So it shouldn't really be much of an issue. And I've blocked the life out of it. That's nearly out of bounds. Sit down. So you can see here how close I was to the out of bounds, just on the right hand side. So that's the 150 marker. With it playing uphill, I've got about 160, which for me is usually an 8-iron. Because it's cold, because it's winter, and because I'm playing uphill, I'm going to give it one extra club and hit a 7-iron. I'm going to basically just try and aim at the middle of the green here, give myself a big target. Get it on the green, get the round going back in the right direction. So I'm not sure if that was me or a mud ball, but I have pulled the living daylights out of that. That's not ideal. I really want to quit now. I really want to give up and not even film this, put this out or anything, because this is getting really annoying. This is how I feel every time I play this course. So I've got a little tricky chip here. I mean, this is really difficult because I'm pitching up, the pin is relatively near the start of the hill, and everything's running away from me here. I've got to really concentrate and kind of do what I didn't do at the last hole. Keep the loft on the club, soft hands. That's not a totally bad effort, maybe like 10 foot down the hill. So again, the way my negative brain works is I'm just thinking, oh bloody, another one for par, gonna miss this, you're bloody rubbish, give up the game, you goat. I think at this point I really just wanted to go home. But we persevere, come on, see what you got. Sneaky, sneaky par. So the 9th hole is 143-yard par 3. It's just as straight as you like. Off this tee, which was a bit further forward, it was playing about 130, maybe just a hair under 130. Pin was on the right, slightly towards the right-hand side, and the right-hand side of this green is a severe drop-off. So I'm giving myself an extra few yards to the left because I really do not want to go right. So instead of aiming in the middle of the green, I'm actually aiming the left half of the green with a pitching wedge, and again, just trying to put a decent swing on it. And that's all over it. Like, that is all over it. And unlike the last one, that's actually ended up quite close. So we've got a decent little chance for birdie here to finish off the front 9 level par. This is moving quite significantly off the left hand side, so I'm really just trying to pick a point nice and high and actually commit to the break, as opposed to thinking pick a point nice and high and at the last moment think, oh, it's actually not going to break that much, and then try and shove it online. So I'm picking my point really high and then going to commit to that, keep it left, come on. Get in, birdie to finish the front 9. God, it's nice to have a tap in. I walked my dog in there.